He makes her bid for a little piece of history.
Hello and welcome to the Kingston Town edition of The Run of the Race. I'm Brittany Taylor, joined as always by the numbers man in Mark Warwood, ready to dissect all the punting form data to come out of the meeting that was on Saturday. And Mark, I'm sure when the data came through, there was one thing you wanted to check, and that would have been the figure of Arcadia Queen.
Yeah, it was like Christmas on Sunday night when those figures were posted on their website. I just wanted to see what the number was. It was minus 16.6. We'll touch upon that later in the show.
We'll have a look a little bit more in detail later in the show, but have you seen anything like it since you've been in Perth?
No, I haven't. I've seen some remarkable performances. I remember Delicacy winning the Perth Cup just before I got here, but physically here at Ascot Racecourse, that was the highlight.
It certainly was. All right, let's have a look at the meeting from the very beginning. And race one was taken out by Market Ruler. If you have a look at the graphic here, Fire and Rain is going almost 5.5 lengths faster than the benchmark to the 600. Market Ruler was able to find the box seat, get a nice camp in just behind them, popped out at the top of the straight and ran away for an effortless victory.
Lane had Market Ruler back on the inside in fourth, placing a length and a half to Lord Greystoke. Outside Rebel Yell, and a clear last of all is Dash for Knickers. Nearing the corner at the 450, Fire and Rain steadied up in front, leads the way. The Playing God filly is running second, Classy Lassie. And then Market Ruler camped right behind them and about to get clear for Lane at the top of the straight, followed by Superstardom and Rebel Yell. Fire and Rain nearing the 200, tackled by Market Ruler. It's Market Ruler levelling up to Fire and Rain, who now draws about a neck in front. Lane goes for the Persuader. Market Ruler responds, kicks away from Fire and Rain, Rebel Yell, but Market Ruler's going to trot in. Market Ruler from Fire.
Market Ruler recording a nice win there. Ended up with a figure 3.9 lengths better than benchmark, courtesy of that nice speed.
Yeah, the nice speed was good for Market Ruler. It wasn't so good for Fire and Rain. I think he is the Forgive horse here. Personal best performance in spite of the defeat. Led that fast tempo with an apprentice aboard. I think that Fire and Rain will be winning again sometime soon. The Forget horse is Lord Greystoke, only a marginally better rating than his win last start. I think he won a pretty weak race first up off that gelding operation. And the follow horse has to be Market Ruler. She's now 4 from 4 over the 1,000 metres. I think she's much suited to the minimum trip.
All right, Market Ruler making the follow file there. And we jump straight in and look at race number 2, where the stablemate Alpha Sky was another beneficiary of a very quick tempo. Stares and Whispers led them up, going 6 lengths faster than benchmark. Alpha Sky was able to settle midfield and just sneak up on the inside and just get the better of Shackleton.
Dropping out last is Danny George, and so the pace had gone up a cog or two, going to the 550. Stares and Whispers around the outside, Sail to the lead. It's Stares and Whispers, 2 in front now from Secret Assault. Transgressor third, over on the fence Milady, followed by My Demi. Bustled along is Shackleton, being followed by Princess Zelda. Alpha Sky, Bon Voyage well back, down to the 250, and Stares and Whispers about to be collared here by Transgressor Shackleton. My Demi running on. Princess Zelda's out near the middle as Shackleton gets its head in front. It's Shackleton. Transgressor fights back. Bon Voyage getting through with Alpha Sky. They went to the line, Alpha Sky.
Gee, a close finish there. The horses that finished first and second were horses that were able to settle midfield or a touch worse. Was that the key to this race, Mark?
Certainly was. Look, I'm going to forgive Bon Voyage here. Finished 4th, knuckled at the start, was fastest from the 6 to the 4 and also from 2 to the winning post. Had the fastest last 600 of the entire meeting. Forgive horses Bon Voyage. The Forget horses Stares and Whispers clearly needs the lead. Went pretty fast here, -6 as you mentioned in the prelude to the video, and appears to be somewhat of a handful to ride as well. The follow horse I think has to be Shackleton. Finished 2nd here. May well have been underdone off what was a pretty slow trial at Belmont Park, and critically that horse is still eligible for this grade. I think he can win in this class.
I definitely think so, and there's a bit of support for the horse as well, so you would suggest that a win is near in store for Shackleton. The next race was taken out by an 8-year-old who still does a lot wrong pre-race. It was Candlelight Star. Settled second last. Have a look at him storming home.
Candlelight Star, Cheston Flyer, saw all of its rivals here at the 550 with the Naconian making play for Stevie Parnham. It's the Naconian doing it well. About a length in front of Riverdance at the 400. 1.5 to Cognac down on the inside. The rider sneaking a look over the right shoulder, just trying to work its way off the fence from Sweet Aura, although he's had a second opinion now and gone back back towards the rail as the Naconian kicks away from River Dance with Candlelight Star further back in the field, starting to run on. He's running on really well. Look at Candlelight Star descends upon the Naconian. Cognac minus looks, but he's going to come right away, the 8-year-old, and Candlelight Star trotted in to give Damien...
A nice victory there, recording a figure of 4.3 lengths above benchmark. Is that a good enough figure to find him in the follow file, Mark?
He gets into the follow file. We'll start at the top with the Forgive horse. I think it was Chest and Fly. Knuckled at the start, was impeded not once but twice in the straight. Also came back with a minor abrasion. So Forgiving Chest and Flyer. The Forget horse is Sweet Order. Slowest last 200 metres. Was midfield in what was a pretty standard tempo, simply not in the form of the Autumn. And the follow horse is Candlelight Star. I'm going to put a caveat there though, has to be a good tempo. That's the first race he's had this preparation where they've gone faster than benchmark to the first 600. He won. Previous to that, he'd been a little bit disappointing with fast sectionals all the way home.
And that is where those speed maps and just figuring out the tempo of a race is going to be all important going forward when we do assess Candlelight Star in future races. Okay, we are rocketing right through these and we are up to race number 4. A good ride by Jason Brown saw Lucky Raw sail to victory.
3/4 on Lucky Raw. Moet de Vega down on the inside, third for Carberry, and now joined by Nelson's Flight, who's gone up and just holding him in a pocket. A length and a half to Watch Me Nene, coming off the bridle. Had to be really stoked up from Bushfire Blonde. Royal Statue 2 lengths further back, followed by Resistance. Pearl Trade looking for the rails run. At the top of the home straight, they swing at the 300. Lucky Raw put paid to Rising Sea and sprints away from them. On the outside, Nelson's Flight for Moet de Vega. Royal Statue grinding down the outside, but Lucky Raw has pitched an unassailable lead, and Lucky Raw's going to cruise down to the line and win it easily. Lucky Raw more than 2 lengths. Royal Statue
Cruise down to the line indeed, but they didn't go overly quick here, Mark. 2.8 lengths slower than benchmark.
Yeah, it was a pretty slowly run race. I'm forgiving Moet de Vega in this race. Not really convinced about him, but he did come back with a elevated heart rate, so the Forgive horse in this contest. The Forget horse for the second week in a row is Rising Sea. Won a really weak race the week before last, and I'll put him in the Forget file then. I think I proved my point to the Ganjimi crew, who had a little bit of a crack at me on social media. That's okay, good banter nonetheless. The follow horse didn't really want to follow anyone out of this race, but I'm going to follow Royal Statue. Look, he struggles to keep up early. Spoke with William Pike straight after this race. I think he wants a lot further, but you look at his closing sectionals, there is a decent horse there somewhere. This was 1,500 metres, maybe a little bit further, and he might be able to stay in touch.
Okay. The next race we will take a look at is the listed Listia Classic. It was for the 3-year-olds and the Velvet King. This was the slowest run race to the 600 of the day, and when they go that slow in front, it makes it very, very hard for the others to catch up.
Outside of Regal Power. They go inside the 600 now and come up to the home corner, and Pateman's about to lift up the tempo here on the Velvet King. It's the Velvet King who'll lead them for home. The filly sticks there, Shapita. Down on the inside, Regal Councillor now around them, going up 3 wide on the home corner. Festival Miss Cup Night behind her. And then came Orsine and Junipel. The Velvet King down to the 250, more than a length in front as Pike goes to work on Festival Miss. Over on the inside is Regal Council, Shapita battling. It's Festival Miss drawing alongside of the Velvet King. The Velvet King, Festival Miss having a tooth and nail struggle, but the Velvet King kicks and prevails.
The Velvet King winning there, but he did get it very easy. 8.4 lengths slower than benchmark to the 600. He just cruised away with it, really.
Yeah, I hate these races where they go slow because the form is just dead set unreliable. I'm going to forgive Junipal here. Went back in what was a very slowly run race over a shorter trip than last time out in the WA Guineas. Dean Yenil did have a winner later on the card, but I didn't like his ride in this race whatsoever. The Forget horse for mine is Cup Night. We mentioned, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, he'd done some really good sectionals off what was a slow tempo and the jury was out. Well, the jury's now returned its verdict. I don't think Cup Night is what we thought he was. The follow horse, really difficult to find one here, but I'm going to go with Regal Power. I think Bob Peters at the start of the season thought this might be the best 3-year-old boy in his stable, and his sectionals home on Saturday were very, very good. Maybe it's worth looking at this horse over a little bit further than the 1,400 metres further into the summer.
Well, speaking of 3-year-olds in the Bob Peters stable, we are taking a quick break here, but on the other side there's still plenty more to come, including the performance of Arcadia Queen. Welcome back to the run of the race, and we are up to the Jungle Dawn Classic now. A fortnight ago we had the Jungle Miss taken out by Misty Medal. On Saturday, Misty Medal, well, we didn't think she'd be able to run 1400. I thought her effort was pretty admirable actually. She gave a good kick on straightening, but Celebrity Dream, just too good.
Fontaine Bleu, then came the favourite Celebrity Dream, who's had a great run to the home corner. A length and a half to Aconite, joined by Platypus, who's starting to roll forward. A length and a half behind those to Showcase and Pearls and Prawns around the outside of it, coming into the bend, Private Dancer. Onto its back, Royal Missile in a bunching field, and he's looking for the rails run on Sally's Realm. Into the home straight though, Misty Medal stormed up, grabbed the lead, stalking it though, Celebrity Dream. It's Celebrity Dream called upon, coming at Misty Medal, who responds. McGruddy's got the whip on Misty Medal. Celebrity Dream trying to draw level. It's Celebrity Dream getting ahead in front. She'll go back to back in the Jungle Dawn. Celebrity Dream beat Misty Medal.
Celebrity Dream winning there. Now last year she won the Jungle Miss, the Jungle Dawn and the Starstruck. This year she's finished second in the Jungle Miss. She's won the Jungle Dawn. Now, can she win the Starstruck in a fortnight over 16?
I wouldn't want to back anything else in that race, even not knowing the field at this point. I'm going to forgive Misty Medal in this race. I agree with what you, Britt, said. I thought she probably wouldn't be suited by the 1400 metres. She certainly didn't get to dictate as well. I think she ran okay considering it was beyond her optimum trip, which I do think is probably 11 or 1200 metres. The Forget horse, I'm sacking Pearls and Prawns now. I know she misbehaved yet again, but she's now been exposed more than once. There's been nothing out of the ordinary. And the follow horse has to be Celebrity Dream. I think she's the best of a pretty ordinary bunch here. I think she'll be very hard to beat in the next fillies and mares race.
She is going to be awfully hard to beat come another fortnight's time. The next race was another listed event. It was the Towton Cup, but when we look at these numbers on the screen now, it is the slowest race of the day when you consider the class of it. They've ran almost 5 lengths slower to the benchmark overall for a 2200, and then they've ran 9 lengths slower than the benchmark for a listed 2200. So ultimately, Capo Doro's been able to get away with it very cheaply in front. Has been the one saluting.
Capo Doro has had pretty much all of his own way in front. He leads the way from on the outside. Prize Catch and It's a Him. Blue Traces 4 deep. A length and a half to Mississippi Delta. Back behind a wall of horses, the favourite coming to the 400 mark, and on its outside, First Affair. Taking off around them, the deepest is Action. Dark Musket trails it. Capo Doro led into the home straight from Prize Catch. It's a Him. Back on the inside court, flat-footed Mississippi Delta. First Affair down the outside. The leader's kicked away. Capo Doro inside the 100, now getting through late. Mississippi Delta starting to wind up. Capo Doro clinging on though, it's all the way Capo Doro. Capo Doro beat Mississippi.
Capo Doro taking out the Towton Cup there, but it was a slowly run race, Mark.
Certainly was. I'm forgiving Elegant Blast here. I know she's a non-winner, but she was too far back in this pedestrian contest. Fastest last 200, despite being impeded very close to the line. So she's the forgive. The Forget horse, I hate doing this because he's one of my favourites and I love the way he won the Derby last year, but Action, something's gone wrong with this horse. He's getting worse with every run. I thought he'd be very hard to beat in the Perth Cup. I don't think he'd win the Perth Cup if he started now at the moment. The follow horse is Capo d'Oro, only if he gets another lead like he did on Saturday though, and gets the lead as a slow tempo. But with so many of these staying races in Perth, that's exactly what happens.
That's exactly right. Now, the next race. This is the one we have been waiting for. Arcadia Queen. There aren't enough words to describe just how good her performance was on Saturday. So sit back and have a look at her taking out the Kingston Town.
Tom is the tail ender as they come along by the 550 in the Kingston Town, and Great Shot giving it a great shot in front. It's Great Shot, 3/4 Iconoclasm. Ollie makes his move with Trap for Fools starting to work into it. Akinar Stars handy to the home corner. Behind those then came Arcadia Queen. She comes to the outside and sets after the leaders. Great Shot, Trap for Fools. Pike hasn't really moved. Now he does. Look at her go, the 3-year-old. Arcadia Queen swept up and grabbed the lead. Further back is Material Man, but the babies run right away from them. Arcadia Queenie had a peep over the right shoulder and she's going to blow them away and record a sensational...
Well, she didn't just win, Mark. She absolutely blitzed them. 16.6 lengths better than benchmark. How do you assess those kind of figures?
Well, it's how does punting form assess them, I suppose. They've clocked 7 Kingston Town Classics since they were formed, and that was the second best performance of the lot. The only one that was better was Moriarty, who was a seasoned Group 1 runner. He ran -17.1. Also in that race, Britt, was Disposition, of course in the same colours as the Cerise and White. He ran -17, but they did go a little bit quicker earlier in that race, and Disposition wasn't a bad horse. I know we see him go around at the moment, but we forget just how good he was as a 3-year-old. He went over to the East, he ran -18.8 over in Melbourne, and I expect Arcadia Queen to match that type of performance when she goes east sooner rather than later.
Looking forward to seeing what she can do over there. Mark, when it comes to these figures, do punting form take into account the conditions of the day as well?
Certainly do, and it was interesting listening to William Pike speaking with you after the race. You asked him about how she rates with the other great horses he's ridden, and he mentioned Perfect Reflection. Well, Perfect Reflection ran -13.5 in winning the Kingston Town Classic with 50 kilos. Now, we know that was a heavy 8 that day. It was monsoonal conditions here in Perth, but these figures take into account all of that. So 3 lengths inferior to what Arcadia Queen did on Saturday.
And I think it was the sentiment as well with Perfect Reflection, I guess, back then, and it's how he looks upon it in reflection. But I have a feeling when he looks back on Arcadia Queen and when we go and see what she is able to do over East next year, I think she's going to rise to the top because she's very exciting.
And don't forget, she went to the line untested on Saturday compared to Perfect Reflection, who was in a driving finish with a superstar in Delicacy as well.
So you can't help but wonder what that figure could have been. We could have been pushing up more towards the 17 point something had she been tested fully to the line. It's an extraordinary performance. What about the rest of the performances? Who makes the files?
Look, she makes the follow file. I am going to make a little bit of a mention here of Prime Tom, because he was outstanding in finishing 5th, I think it was, in the race. The forgive horse for mine is Gatting. It was tightened at the 1200 due to Perfect Jewel and Peter Hall. Peter Hall's got a lengthy ban for that. He'll have Christmas off. Was also impeded in the straight until passing the 200 as well. So Gatting was really, really good in finishing 4th. There's no doubt in my mind at all this horse has improved this preparation. I think he might be the one to beat in the Perth Cup. And the Forget horse, I think it is great shot. I do think he's found his level, and I'm not really sure where the next win comes from.
That is the Kingston Town Classic that we've had a look at, and the performance of Arcadia Queen, clearly the highlight of the whole card and probably the whole Masters series as well. There was still one race to come on the day. It's race 9. It was taken out by Juicing Carrots, and it was great scenes here. You could see it meant a lot to Raquel Reid.
Last of all is Middle Earth at the 600 now. They come under the home corner. The leader, Thunderclap Newman, only ahead. Black Line going up now, and she's going to test this leader. Miracle Man's only a length off them. Juicing Carrots being pushed along in the middle. Astronomite's got nowhere to go at the moment. It's strung up down on the inside as they'd set sail for the judge like a butterfly. Taxagano and Queen Bay's gone back inside of heavy traffic. Black Line reaches the lead. Pike goes to work on Miracle Man. Taxagano's gunning them down, and Juicing Carrots gets an inside run at the 100. Juicing Carrots, Taxagano. Juicing Carrots over on the inside lifting. Juicing Carrots too good. Juicing Carrots beat Taxagano. Miracle.
Juicing Carrots, he's been a bit hard to catch, and I don't think either trainer or jockey really were able to pinpoint exactly what it was on Saturday that saw him become the victor. Mark, do the numbers suggest anything?
No, look, I didn't really love this race. I suppose after the high of the Kingston Town Classic, it was almost inevitable. The forgive horse, I think, is Queen Bay. Was too far back over too short a trip. Fastest sectionals all the way home. Looking forward to seeing her step up back to 2,000 and plus. The forget horse, well, it would have been Thunderclap Newman had he not been retired, so it will be Middle Earth, who only beat Thunderclap Newman home. The follow horse for the second time is Taxagano. Over-raced early on in this race. I think he'll probably benefit from stepping back in trip from the 1,800 metres. I'm looking at Taxagano over a mile next time out.
Okay, Taxagano one to follow. A horse that was actually, he was still getting a fair bit hot in the yard as well, so I'd like to see him just relax that tiny bit in the yard, and there's definitely a win in store for him. All right, 9 races that we have reviewed now. Mark, I guess there's no prizes in guessing who the overall rating winner is.
No, Arcadia Queen, -16.6. Just to put that in some kind of context, Winx's PB is about -20.4 from, I think it was her second Cox Plate victory, so about 4 lengths off the great Winx Arcadia Queen. The class rating, well, she took that out as well, -11.1 for the class. It was a very fast run, a Group 1 race. And then in looking at the sectional times here, it's another Cerise and White whitewash. Regal Power in the 2 and the 4, and Bon Voyage in the 600 metres.
Well, we really saw the cream rise to the top. Over the whole 3 weeks of the Masters Series, the Cerise and White absolutely dominated. No surprises there. There is the review of the Kingston Town Classic Day. We'll take a break, and on the other side of this, we'll find out who was the tip star of the week.
At Tab Touch, our bettering department comes up with new ways to better your betting experience, like putting better features at your fingertips, such as Sky Racing and Super Pick. But if you think we're just doing what every other betting company does, think again. because we're also giving a portion of every bet to fund a better racing industry. And betting your local. So better your bet with Tab Touch.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Welcome back to the run of the race, and it is time to have a look at the tipping competition as it stands after the Kingston Town Classic Day. And Mark, there were a few big price collects on the weekend, so it was a bit of a moving day.
Massive moving day potential. 4,100 was the best possible score. You would have had to have had Juicing Carrots as your best bet, but you'd have had to have had the likes of Regal Power, $10.50 the place, and Fontainebleau at $7.20 the place. You needed all the winners. Lucky Raw, $24.90. But yeah, Juicing Carrots the big bet.
Now, who was our winner this week? Because if you're able to find the big bet in Juicing Carrots, well, it stood you in pretty good stead.
Well, Marzio Santa Pietro was the winner on Saturday. Only had 2 winners, but one of them is Juicing Carrots at $44.60 and $8 a place. It shoots you up the leaderboard if you have it as the big bet. And I'm seeing certain strategies out there now from people chasing these prizes, whether it be the overall or even just the weekly one. You look at Marzio's selections there, some of them are pretty big prices like Superstardom and Fontainebleau. It's a Him and Mr. Seawolf as well.
It's very clear. People have adopted the strategy. They're trying to get the outsiders and make a big bet. And if it comes off, well, as you see, Marzio ending up with fantastic weekly prizes. Now, let's have a look at this leaderboard. And the person in second here, well, they've shot up out of nowhere.
Yeah, Jai 95 is the tipster. He's now only or less than 300 points off the leader. Jai 95 was one of 3 tippers on Saturday to have Juicing Carrots as the big bet. Unfortunately for Jai, Marzio took out the weekly prize, but Jai is now right in the hunt for medals in the overall race.
He definitely is. Well done to you if you did find Juicing Carrots or any of those big price winners on the weekend. I'm very jealous because I definitely didn't find Juicing Carrots. There's plenty racing coming up this weekend. Just when we thought it was all over, I thought Masters done, all the good racing over, but it's not. We still have another Group 3 to come this Saturday. It is the Scahill Stakes, and let's have a look at the last 3 editions.
Races up, draws level with the leader. Magnificio, though, quickly closed in on him. Here comes Waterman's Bay. He's starting his run and he's closing in, and so's Respondent. It's still Magnificio. Look at Waterman's Bay, though. Waterman's Bay driving at Magnificio. Makes it back-to-back wins in the scale. Vega Magic races up now and he goes past Lusaha. He sprints away. Chocolate Holic is storming down the outside with first among equals, but Vega Magic is going to prevail, and it was an interestingly run scale, and at the end of the day it was a great result. Vega Magic. Down the extreme outside, Silver Stream threading away through at the 100 though. Mr. Utopia, Proper Randy, Silver Stream threading through the eye of the needle. It's Silver Stream sprinting through in the centre. She grabs the lead, the mare. Silver Stream has won from Proper Randy's.
Waterman's Bay, Vega Magic and Silverstream, the most recent winners of the race. And that Silverstream race for Clint Johnson-Porter, I think he'll look back on that with a lot of great memories.
Yeah, he's probably been watching on replay whilst he's been recovering from that serious injury. Clint Johnson-Porter outrode his claim last year in winning this race aboard Silverstream. Not a bad way to outride your claim, a Group 3 worth $250,000.
Not bad at all. I think most apprentices, well, they wish they could even outride their claim, but let alone to do it in a race like this. So definitely a huge effort, and I don't think there'll be any fairy tale stories like that this weekend, but a nice field assembled nonetheless. We look forward to either seeing you out at the races. It all kicks off at 12:44 this Saturday, and thank you for joining us this week on the Run of the Race. We'll see you next week.
She makes her bid for a little piece of history.